Hey there, everyone. This video is for anyone who needs a little bit of extra help working on their CRQ 3.2. Okay, so the question says, compare the moods of the stanzas in blue versus the stanzas in black. How are they different from one another? So remember, a stanza is a set of lines in a poem, kind of like a paragraph. So you can see there's stanza 1, there's stanza 2, and so on. So we are trying to come up with what is the mood of these two blue stanzas here versus the mood to describe the black stanzas down here. Now, as a brief reminder, I'm going to go back to what we talked about last class. Okay, when we talk about mood in a text, we're not talking about your emotions. When we talk about tone, we're not talking about the way you speak to your parents or someone else. Okay, in English, tone means how the author thinks about the subject. So if the author is writing about mac and cheese and they hate mac and cheese, their tone is going to be a little bit more negative. The mood is how the reader feels about the text. So if an author is writing a negative tone about mac and cheese, the reader is probably going to pick up on negative emotions after reading the passage. Now, even though these two terms are different, you will often hear them used similarly to mean the general atmosphere or vibe or feeling of a text. So last class we looked at some examples. We read small passages and tried to pick the best word to describe the mood or the feeling of the passage. So for this passage, we picked the word despairing. And the way we made that decision was by looking at some of these words circled in red. We call these charged words. Okay, think of a battery that has a positive charge and a negative charge on both sides. So these words, died, dead, depressing, have a negative charge to them, right? So we want to make sure we pick a negative sounding word. With this next passage, we picked up on words like peaceful, success, secure, and safe. And those helped create a more positive vibe or mood. And so we picked the word calm. So when you're reading a text, you want to think, is it generally positive or generally negative in its vibe or feeling? And then you can use a chart like this to help you pinpoint the exact word. Now, if you think positive and you look under happy, you have words like cheerful, delighted, giddy, joyous, merry. If you're not sure what a word means, I would encourage you to look it up. It could help expand your vocabulary. So with this poem here by Maya Angelou, when you read the two blue stanzas, you want to think first, what is a word I could use to describe the mood or vibe of those two stanzas? Is it generally positive or generally negative? Once you've come up with your word, when you're ready to put your response on this next page here, anywhere you see yellow, that's where you need to type or pick a response. Okay, so the first yellow blank goes for the blue stanzas. What would be a word to describe the mood of the blue stanzas? So that's the word you want to put here. Then, as you read the black stanzas, you again want to think, is it more positive or more negative, and come up with a word to describe it. When you know that word, you're going to put that here. The mood of the black stanzas could be described as blank. Once you've stated clearly the mood of both stanzas, you want to then give examples. So the first one says, for example, in stanza 1 or 4, you need to pick which one. Angelou writes blank. That's where you want to pick a quote from 1 or 4, from the blue stanzas. You're going to say, this helps create a blank mood because blank. So whatever word you set up here, whatever word you chose for the blue stanzas, you'll put right here as well. And then in your own words, how does that evidence show a happy or a sad or a positive or a negative mood? You're then going to give an example from the black stanzas, and you'll pick which one, 2, 3, 5, or 6. Give the evidence here. explain what mood that helps create and why. And then you'll end by saying, therefore, the two types of mood created in these sets of stanzas could be described as blank. So that's where you really want to say, how are these two moods similar or different from each other? Okay, if you need any extra help or would like help reading through the poem, please reach out to myself or Mr. Crane. Otherwise, good luck.